How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi, and welcome to a hunter's guide to ZA loot. Yeah, we're gonna kick it old school, doing an actual loot guide here, not a bis list. We're gonna have people going into ZA with geared AF mains, alts, and people getting back into it for the catch-up gear. So I'm gonna cover all the hunter-related drops, boss by boss. First up, Akil'zon. He's the big bird bitch, but he doesn't really drop anything we're going to use as hunters. That sucks. Next, Nalorakk, the bear avatar, FKA Smokey. He actually drops a lot that we could be interested in. The first item being Fury. This is an offhand specific fist weapon. We do like fist weapons as hunters. If you're still rocking a pre-bis like Storm Reaver Warblades, this is a massive improvement. If you're using previous bis like an Alar Claw, this is kind of the side grade. Swaps damage for hit. I wouldn't bother with it if you have Claw of the Phoenix, but there's actually an even better weapon for us later in ZA, so even though this is pretty good, it's temporary at best. He also drops Blade Angel's Money Belt, which is really good. Is it better than Don Alejandro's or Bone Weave? Yes and no. The art pen is nice. I don't want to get too into that deep, wet art pen theory crafting crevice, but if you want to be really sweaty, you can have gear sets tailored for how much armor a boss has, meaning in the right scenario, it's possible Blade Angels could pull ahead, but even then it's not likely. Basically, if you already have Don Alejandro's or Bone Weave, I wouldn't replace it. If you have anything else, even like Deep Shadow, then I'd probably replace it with Blade Angels. This final piece of hunter gear is Pauldrons of Primal Fury. These are mostly a catch-up piece of gear. They're fairly good, but you're not going to replace Grondstalker with them. And if you have T5, you're not going to want to break that set bonus for them either. So if you're still rocking a setless alt or something like that, then these will work out pretty good. John Alai. Alright, John Alai is a bitch, and I'm going to call him out here. But he drops things. Well, he drops two chest pieces. They're both okay. Neither beat Grondstalker because of the set bonus. But if you're using, say, Ranger General chest guard, well then, it's actually about the same. So the Arrowfall chest guard is actually not that good. You'd only use that if, again, fairly low geared character. And Shadowtooth, despite the huge armor pen, is only a little bit better than Ranger Generals. So you definitely not replace T5 chests if it breaks the set bonus. So of the two, Shadowtooth is better if you need to use one of them. Halazzi. Kinda shit, honestly. He drops shoulder pads of Dancing Blades. These are just a worse version of Pauldrons of Primal Fury, which we already talked about. He also drops a necklace, the Savage's Choker, which is also mostly shit. Haste is cool, but it's just not a very good necklace. Even like Worgenclaw from Kara will probably give you about the same or better results. You'd think Halazzi would drop a sword, but nope. I think Zul'Jin drops his sword and it's a caster weapon. Fucking weird. Hex Lord Malacrass. Finally, a boss that drops some dope shit. Quaff of the Jungle Stalker. Alright, this isn't the dope shit yet. This helm is okay, but it's really unlikely you'd ever use it. Cursed Vision is obviously fucking miles ahead of it, but it doesn't even have a meta gem, and it has to contend with set bonuses on other helms. If you're not going to do any 25 mans, you could wear it, but that's about the only use case. So here's the real dope shit. Dagger of Bad Mojo. Hell yeah. So they're not fist weapons. I know. But trust me, these are still very good. Let's compare them to P3 Bis. Boundless Agony, and Blade of Infamy. 21 agility, 40 AP, and 140 ARPN. Damn! And it's not even unique. Like I mentioned before, things can get sweaty with ARPN. But generally, Blade of Infamy is the worst of the three. Agony in the middle, and Bad Mojo is the best. So if you can dual wield Mojo daggers, do it. Zul'Jin. Finally, the last boss, Zul'Jin. Weirdly doesn't have a ton for us, but what he does have is also dope shit. Berserker's Call. This is a very, very boring trinket. It's just an upgraded version of Bloodlust Brooch, which was already a really good trinket. We still want DST in one slot, but for the other slot, this is probably what you want unless you have Betrayer. We know ARPN can get weird, but it'd be really unlikely for Betrayer to be worse than Berserker's Call, so I wouldn't replace Betrayer if you have that. It's also really nice that Betrayer comes with a little bit of hit. Remember when we were swimming in that piss-colored sea of hit? Yeah, those days are gone. Ancient Amani Longbow. This is pretty good. It doesn't beat Bristleblitz or Blackbow or even Serpent Shrine Longbow. But if you've still got Sun Fury, this is a bit of an upgrade. What about Jinrock? Not that good. I mean, it does look nice. Damn. Actually, we'll talk a little more about Jinrock later. And the super secret boss that's not a boss at all, but does have boss-like loot. The timed chests. Yeah, so everybody remembers the timed events to get the Amani Warbear, but there's also loot from that, and a lot of it is pretty good. The loot you can get is tied to how quickly you're clearing bosses, so keep that in mind. Cloak of Fiends. This is not a bad cape. It's a bit better than Vengeance Wrap and probably any other pre-raid thing you might have, but there's also a new badge cape with Dory's Embrace, which is even better, even though it has Rezil on it. Dory's Embrace is slightly behind Wilder Cloak, but still fairly good. Some sites have shown Dory's Embrace to also drop from the ZA chest, but I'm pretty sure it's badges, like 92.3% sure. Rage. Fucking edgy name there. This is the matching main hand of Fury. It's not terrible, so if you want to use it while waiting to get your 2 Mojo daggers, yeah, that'd be fine. Shadow Hunter's Treads. Also not bad. They're kinda in the same place as a lot of the ZA gear we've already seen. They're not BIS, but they're a huge improvement over like pre-raid BIS or even stuff you get out of Kara like Edgewalker, but then still a bit behind Cobra Lash boots from SSC. Trollbane. As a stat stick, it's not really worth it. It's definitely inferior to the Mojo daggers. If for some reason you're very serious about melee weaving, you can make Trollbane or Jinrock work alright. Jinrock is going to be the better of the two, assuming you are actually getting your melee attacks in reliably. I don't expect this to be the case for basically anyone. If you're that serious about melee weaving, you've probably already got Twin Blade, and you're really not going to gain anything by swapping that out. Tuskbreaker. Yeah, another ranged weapon, although this one has an amazing name. But it's just not that exciting. There's some potential here for Dwarf, but for everyone else, it's not better than an Ancient Amani Longbow, and it's harder to get than Ancient Amani Longbow. They're pretty close, so it's not a big deal if you'd rather use the gun, but again, about the only thing you'd be replacing these with anyway is Sun Fury. And the last chest item, Signet of Primal Fury Wrath. Signet of Primal Wrath. Now this is certified dope shit. This ring is Phase 4 BIS. This ring is something you want. The only very rare possibility you'd not want it is if it's going to completely throw your hit to shit. Say you're still using Ranger General, or if you happen to get Storm Rage, you wouldn't want to replace that. So I'd say around 95% of us will really want this. The best items. We looked through a whole bunch of shit here, so I thought I'd quickly point out what are the best items here that almost everyone is going to want to go for. The daggers. Getting 2 mojo daggers is pretty high on the list. The ring. We just went over that, but it's a phenomenal ring. The bear. Of course we want the fucking bear. Blade Angel's belt. Not P4 bis, but it is a very good belt. And of course, Berserker's Call. This is an excellent trinket, only potentially topped by Betrayer. Shit. That is a hunter's guide to ZA loot. Let me know what gear you're looking forward to most here. I'm mostly in it for the looks. The gear here looks fucking amazing and hideous at the same time. Been a while since I did a video. I know. If you enjoyed the video, hit that sub button, bell, like button. About time we got ZA button, share button, all that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get. This channel even has memberships. You can check them out by clicking the join button right by the sub button. I stream right here on YouTube. I hope you'll join me. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.